Twip, twip! You know what that means, guys. It's another episode of Spider-Man Weekly, the weekly series where I cover all the newest Spider-Man books. And this week we actually had 3 comic books when it came to our favorite webhead or webhead family, I should say. We had Spider-Man, End of the Spider-Verse. This is part 5. Mary Jane and Black Cat. This is issue 3. Spider-Man, The Lost Hunt, issue 4. Now, upon this recording, I did not have a chance to read Spider-Man, The Lost Hunt, unfortunately, because I am going away for the weekend. My daughter has a dance competition, so I only had a chance to read these 2 particular comics, so I wanted to at least cover these 2 and give you my thoughts on them. Let's talk about Mary Jane and Black Cat issue 3. This is a book that has definitely been fire lately. I mean, like literally fire. I love this comic book. I think Jed MacKay should be the next writer on Spider-Man. I think he's that good. I think he's done wonders with Felicia, and I think with Mary Jane in this comic, he creates an awesome team up, and he gives Mary Jane powers where she can produce these powers with this bracelet all based off of luck. And in this issue, or in this series, we wind up seeing the 2 girls trying to recover the, the Soul Sword, right? Or the Ebony Blade, one of the swords, or whatever the case may be, in Limbo. And they come across an adversary by the name of Sim. But throughout this comic book, they come to an agreement that they should work together until the final moment, and then they'll betray each other. The banter between the 2 characters, or the 3 characters, I should say, was absolutely awesome. Such crazy interactions between all 3 of these characters, all the different types of demons that are in Limbo. I mean, they're just absolutely grotesque in every which way. And I love this comic. And we find out in this book that there's a reason why MJ's powers are not working. And again, it has to do with Felicia's superpower by giving people bad luck. And it's done through a conscious way, not that anything that Mary Jane has done. And they find themselves in grave danger against the Guardian of the Blade. And it's so gorgeous, man. This is an absolute delight. I love this book. Everything about it is so much fun. All the character interactions are great. It's a bright, vibrant comic book. This is something that you should not sleep on. It's like, let me know. Would you like to see Jed MacKay as the next writer of Spider-Man, being that he has written so many great comics as of late, whether it's Taskmaster, Moon Knight, the Black Cat character, he's getting ready to do Avengers. Just let me know. Would you love to see him write Spider-Man? So the next book that we're going to talk about is Spider-Man End of the Spider-Verse issue 5. So my initial thought process of this book is it's going to suck. Let's get it out of the way. And if it's not good, I might drop it. And I know some people have dropped it and said this book is actually absolutely atrocious. And I agree with you. Like, issues 2, 3, and 4 were absolute just hot garbage in my opinion. And I'm so over the Spider-Verse stuff. Issue 1 was really good, right? Up until you got to that Spider-Verse stuff, because it had nothing to do with Spider-Verse, really. Now in issue 5, we get to see the beginning of this book where the Spider-Verse was basically just 1 page. And in the last issue, you wind up getting to see Peter Parker Spider-Man disappear into some other Earth 616. Like, he doesn't even realize that he's supposed to be Spider-Man. He's gone somewhere else. So you get this different type of origin story of Peter Parker on what would happen if he did not get bitten by the radioactive spider and it only bit Cindy Moon. And Cindy Moon becomes the Spider-Man. In fact, the Spider-Woman, the one that protects all of New York. Dude, this book was freaking awesome. This book reminds me of the early days of when Dan Slott was writing, say, Superior Spider-Man and some of the other great Spider-Man comics he has actually written. It reminds me that he can write comics when it's something a little bit different or something a little bit, new, right? Like Spider-Verse was good in the beginning, but it's just been so overdone and there's so much nonsense that goes on in it. It's just like, it's just unbearable to read. But this just focuses on Peter Parker and his interactions with Cindy Moon, all the cast of characters of Spider-Man, right? You get to see Liz Allen, you get to see Flash Thompson, you get to see him get bullied, you do get to see the situations that happen with Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben doesn't get shot in this comic, actually Peter Parker does, and he suffers a lifelong injury. But then you get to see a relationship develop between Flash Thompson because he stood up and protected his aunt and his uncle. I mean, this has original Spider-Man vibes all the way through. This is night and day compared to what Dan Slott has written in the past 4 issues, right? Now, there is a lot of dialogue in this book. It's dialogue heavy. But I kid you not, I was so into this comic book that it did not make me flinch whatsoever. In fact, I got so into it, I could hear those voices in my head, like J. Jonah Jameson talking like he did in like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or the 90s animated series. Like I had all those voices in my head at the time because I was so like in this comic book. Like I love this book. It was so much fun. You got Sandman in this book. There's just a lot of characters that we have not seen that has made Spider-Man so special. And in fact, he's so infatuated with Cindy Moon, Spider-Woman, he is actually an assistant to her. He creates web shooters for her, even though she doesn't need it. She creates all the gadgets that Spider-Man would have, right? So he's kind of like the little sidekick to her. And at the end of the day, we wind up seeing Peter Parker get a job for Norman Osborn, just like he would in the real comics today. So, you know what, guys? If you drop this book, I understand why, right? But after reading this issue, I was like, I'm happy I did not drop it. It was like a breath of fresh air. It was like all my tension and stress from this series was relieved from this one issue. Now, it could be only one issue, unfortunately, because we get a reveal that there's something not quite right at the end of the issue. But nevertheless, it shows me, and I have hope that after this whole Spider-Verse nonsense is over, that maybe Dan Slott can write a great Spider-Man comic again, right? So, yeah, A+ for me. I really enjoyed this. This is everything that Spider-Man is. It shows me that Dan Slott really knows how to write a Spider-Man comic when he wants to put forth the effort, right? Instead of just rehashing Spider-Verse stuff. So yeah, definitely go pick this up. If you dropped it, you might be surprised. All right, guys, so there you have it. There are the 2 Spider books I read this week. I want to know in the comments below, tell me what you thought of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse if you read it, and tell me the thoughts on Mary Jane and Black Cat. 2 very good Spider books. This one was good just because it didn't have Spider-Man in it, and you love Felicia and Mary Jane. And when you talk about your favorite webhead, this was A+ for me. Still got to read Spider-Man The Lost Hunt. We'll see where that goes. So there you guys have it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Sorry I didn't get a chance to review the other one. But if you love my content, I'll leave you my newest video series from the other day called The Worthy Ones, where I talk about all of this week's new #1 comics and deem them worthy or not worthy. So guys, have a wonderful weekend. Always remember, keep buying, keep collecting, but most importantly, always read those comics.